Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, I'm going to be covering Namor. He made his first appearance in Motion Picture Funny's Weekly, issue number 1, that was released in April of 1939. His complete name is Namor Mackenzie, also going by the title King Namor, as well as a long list of other aliases, such as the Submariner and the first and mightiest mutant. This Atlantean and human hybrid mutant stands 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 278 pounds, also having bluish-gray eyes with black hair and unique small vestigial wings on his ankles, which are presumed to help him in flight, as well as having gills behind his pointed ears. Now, Namor's abilities stem from a unique Atlantean, aka Homo mermanus, and mutant human, Homo superior physiology, being far more powerful than his Atlantean brethren and his human brethren. Now, this leads me to backtrack to one of his titles that I said, which is being Marvel's quote-unquote first and mightiest mutant. This could be an arguable topic, because although there are other mutants that were supposedly born before Namor, Namor happens to be the first one that was presented within Marvel Comics during this 1939 debut. So he represents the beginning of the concept of mutants within Marvel Comics. Now, to move on to the other title, the Mightiest Mutant, Namor is arguably the strongest natural mutant there is, with the physical might of Colossus being very close, and only Apocalypse seeming to be somewhat stronger than him, but that's due to subsequent upgrades in celestial technologies combined. This Atlantean king has vast superhuman strength, being able to lift well over 100 tons. He's easily beaten other powerhouses such as Luke Cage, She-Hulk, and even his nemesis, Atuma. And he's battled against the Hulk himself on multiple occasions, actually having knocked him out several times over the years. And these aren't just one-offs, because Namor has proven himself time and time again by holding his own against a laundry list of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe, faring quite well in one-on-one battles with Hercules and Thor, not to mention him having the strength and durability to briefly hold his own against beings like Silver Surfer and the Sentry. So Namor is an absolute beast, also being able to swim at over 345 miles per hour and fly up to escape velocity, although it's speculated that this flight is assisted by some type of telekinesis and is not just produced from those small vestigial wings. To go on, Namor also has moderate superhuman stamina, agility, and reflexes, as well as an extended lifespan, which is a trait that he shares with his fellow Atlanteans. All of his senses are greatly enhanced, which increase his awareness within the depths of the sea to include echolocation and even aquatic telepathy, being able to communicate with various forms of marine life, quite often giving mental orders to even his fellow Atlanteans. Namor even has a low-level healing factor to complement his enhanced durability. However, it has to be noted that this and all of his other abilities that I just named are negatively impacted the longer he stays out of contact with some type of water, despite him technically being fully amphibious and being able to stay out of water much longer than his fellow Atlanteans, who can only stay out for a matter of minutes. And to round it all out, he also has hydrokinesis, being able to control water to such a degree that it can actually express itself as atmokinesis, being able to manipulate weather phenomena that deal with precipitation. Now, to add to his natural physical attributes, he has exceptional skill as an armed and unarmed combatant, sometimes using Neptune's trident in battle, but often preferring using his fists. This obviously adds to his noble warrior allure, with him being a respected leader and diplomat, who happens to speak every language on Earth. But after all of this, make no mistake, Namor is not perfect, with one of his major weaknesses being his tendency towards mental instability, which seemingly stems from him having a vulnerability to an oxygen imbalance within his blood, sometimes stemming from him being in water far too long or on dry land too long. This seems to be the only negative cost of his hybrid amphibious physiology. Now, in his early life, Prince Namor was the mutant son of a blue-skinned Atlantean princess named Princess Finn and an American sea captain named Leonard Mackenzie. He would be raised in the underwater kingdom of Atlantis and grew up having a slight distaste for surface dwellers. Yet, despite his priorities being the Atlantean people, he would occasionally help out the surface dwellers, During World War II, he would briefly side with the Allies against the Axis powers, joining the superhero teams known as Invaders and Liberty Legion. After the war, he would become a member of the All-Winner Squad, but he would return to Atlantis when the squad disbanded in 1949. He wouldn't make a prolonged return to the surface until the late 1950s, when he would encounter a man called Destiny, who actually removed his memory and sent him to New York, where he would live as a vagrant, not having his memory restored until he was assisted by Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. Unfortunately, Namor would completely turn against the human race when he learned that the city of Atlantis had been destroyed during his absence, having his first battle with the Fantastic Four soon after. And after repeated battles with this heroic team, Namor would eventually make peace with them and eventually become one of their greatest allies. Not to mention him briefly becoming smitten with Sue Storm, aka Invisible Woman, although he would graciously step aside once she decided to marry Reed Richards. From there, we'd see Namor go on to play another major role within Marvel Comics, with him traveling to the Arctic and stumbling upon an Inuit tribe who was worshipping a figure frozen in ice, this causing the Submariner to hurl the figure into the sea. This ice would later melt and reveal the now iconic Captain America, who would be picked up and revived by the Avengers. We know that Namor would go on to be married twice, firstly to Lady Dorma and then later to Marina. Although they both would end up passing away, he would also be linked to figures like Emma Frost and even his distant royal cousin Namora. But when his long-lost son from an unnamed mother named Kamar tried to take over Atlantis, Namor would spring into action and have to evacuate all of the Atlanteans to Latveria, the country ruled by the powerful Dr. Doom. This would give Namor the opportunity to take out his misguided son. Namor would go on to be an integral part of several powerful, secretive organizations, joining Marvel's Illuminati and even forming the organization known as the Cabal, and the infamous Deep Six. He'd even ally with the X-Men when the Phoenix Force returned to Earth, briefly becoming one of the Phoenix Five, who were given a portion of the Phoenix's power. Yet, despite the Black Panther T'Challa also being a part of the Illuminati, Namor and his Atlanteans have been unable to avoid conflict with Wakanda, which makes for epic showdowns between these two powerhouse nations. He would one day have to be put in check when he became increasingly dictatorial, with Namora and some rebels actually risking their lives to confront him to help him change his ways. The Atlantean king would then simmer down a bit and settle back into primarily doing heroics. Now, for his powers and abilities and his influence on the Marvel Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give Namor the Submariner a rating of 10, which is a legendary rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join the new Sage.